You are listening to the Maple Footy Podcast, the unofficial football podcast of the North. I'm your host, Sam Little. Find me on socials at SamLittle44 and the podcast at Maple Footy Pod. And now there's nothing left to say except for sit back, enjoy, and welcome to the show.
Hello, yes, and welcome back to the Maple Footy Podcast. We played an intro, so you already know what we are. We, the unofficial football podcast of the North. And, of course, last night, as a recording, Canada took on Tunisia in our final March friendly ahead of the World Cup, the final time in Toronto before the boys are back in Toronto for their first game on June 12th of the World Cup, which we now know our opponent because Bosnia did, in fact, beat Italy on penalties. What a roller coaster that one was. I caught some of the game. I wasn't able to watch all of it. I caught the penalty shootout for sure, and I caught a little bit of the extra time. Roller coaster of emotions in that one. Bastoni getting a red card, Bosnia going down 1-0, and then in the 79th minute, grabbing their goal. Then, of course, down to penalties. Dzeko goes out hurt right before the PKs. And then, of course, Bosnia, once again, like they did with Wales, very, very perfect penalties. So I don't know if they've been practicing those or they're just naturally gifted with their pens. But my goodness, I will say I am a little bit happy about this result, not because I think Bosnia is an easy team, as we quite literally saw against Wales and Italy. Bosnia are not an easy team at all. I'm just glad that now we won't have to talk about who is Canada rooting for in this World Cup when it comes to Canada versus Italy. That I am a little bit happy about because I do think that it kind of helps the guys as well on the pitch, knowing that they will be playing a home World Cup now, because all the talk was, will it be a home game if everyone's rooting for Italy on June 12th, you know? So I'm glad that they don't have to worry about that now. Ideally now, people will be showing up in their red or their white or their black kits or whatever, and rooting on this Canadian team. And I think that's really good. Don't think Bosnia is an easy game at all. We saw it. They're not an easy game, but I just think mentally, I think it could help Canada just a little bit to not have to worry about that now. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be a great game, so that's good. But yeah, anyways, we'll talk about this game. We'll do the pros. We'll do the cons. I do think that our performance overall was better in this game than against Iceland, despite not getting on the score sheet. But we did keep a clean sheet. 0-0, baby. But yeah, I think that we'll have a few more pros to talk about in this one, a little less cons, then we'll do the player by player, then we'll do the substitutes, and then we'll all go home happy. So, starting with the pros, and honestly, before we start with the pros, I just want to say, because I feel like sometimes we're negative with this team, I absolutely love this team to bits, man. Like, all these guys, all these players representing the country just so well, playing with just pure passion, and just, you know, it makes you proud to watch this because for many years, we barely had a program, never mind a team. And now it actually feels like we have a good team on the pitch. Players are playing in places that we never could have imagined. You know, we have a striker playing for Juventus. We have two guys playing in Spain with Villarreal. We have some great MLS talent. We have guys playing in Mexico. We have guys playing in the English Championship. We have guys playing in Belgium. We have guys playing in France. We have, of course, our captain playing in Germany. So I do absolutely love this team to bits, and I don't, when I'm talking negative about them, or criticizing them, I would say, I don't want it to come across as, oh man, this guy doesn't even like the team he supports, man. No, I do. I absolutely love this team to absolute bits. So starting with the pros, I kind of alluded to it. I thought this was a better overall performance than the one against Iceland. They seemed less lethargic and more on the front foot, more up with the press. I thought Tani Oluwaseyi, I don't think had a great outing, but I thought his press was really good. He led the line in that aspect quite well. Liam Millar, Marcelo Flores on the wings, I thought once again their press was just demonic. Koné and Saliba as well, I thought really meshed well together in the midfield, and that's another one. Pros, I don't think our midfield looked overrun in this game. I thought Saliba and Koné complement each other really well because maybe it's that former Montreal link going on there. But I do think that they complement each other really, really well. Koné was given a lot of freedom by Jesse Marsch and by Nathan Saliba, the best Saliba in world football. And I thought he was an absolute just general in this game, really dictated our tempo, dictated our flow. He was really helping in the press, looked good coming back. When he was on the ball, Koné's just one of those players that on the ball, he's just so silky, really. He's so much fun to watch. And I think he's really matured with his distribution as well, being able to hold on to the ball, not too long, but just enough time for us to reset, get a guy into position so we could pass to that guy in a good position, pass it back to slow it down, bring it forward to speed it up. I think that we're seeing Koné, as we have now for the last year, we're really seeing him, I think, mature in his role for Canada and just mature as a player overall. And I thought Nathan Saliba really understood his role in this game. He had to sit back a little bit, but when he was able to push forward, I thought he also looked quite good. Other talking points that are pros, some new faces. Ralph Priso, I know he made his debut over the weekend, but got to make his first start for Canada. Marcelo Flores as well made his debut over the weekend, but got to make his start. Jaquil Marshall-Rutty got his long overdue Canada men's national team debut. I know he played in Camp Poutine, but that doesn't count as an official cap. Whatever. So he finally makes his official Canada debut, and it long overdue. He's been called up many times with squads in the last number of years and has never gotten to actually get on the pitch. So really happy for him that he did get on the pitch in this one. I thought he looked pretty bright with his cameo that he did get. And then our final pro, clean sheet. Clean sheet, baby. Canada gets a clean sheet. Yeah, we didn't score, but we also kept a clean sheet. Which is good. I'm happy that Maxime Crepeau kept a clean sheet. That's the Canadian Buffon right there. I'm honestly going to start calling Buffon the Italian Crepeau. Like, let's be real. But yeah, I do think that keeping a clean sheet close to the World Cup will do the defense a world of good with confidence, and will do Maxime Crepeau a world of good and confidence heading into now the rest of the season with Orlando, at least leading up to the World Cup. And if you would ask me, hey, Sam, has the goalkeeping situation been cleared up? No. It definitely has not. Neither one of these keepers had a bad window. Neither one of them were outstanding, but neither one of them had to be outstanding. So sadly, I don't think we're any closer to finding out who our goalkeeper is. But at least I don't think either one of them lost the job in this one. So if you are a Dane guy, I think that you're sitting there going, okay, it still could be my boy. And then if you're a Crepeau guy, it's the same thing. I think you're going, okay, it still could be my boy. Regardless, though, this decision should have been made a long time ago, as I talked about last episode. But regardless, not going to beat a dead horse on this one. But yeah, if you were wondering, no, I don't think that we're any closer to finding out our goalkeeper. But at least we did keep a clean sheet. Cons. Let's move into the cons, baby. Because who doesn't want to get a little bit negative on an early Tuesday morning? I don't think that there was as many cons to talk about in this one as there was in the Iceland one. I think, as I said, I thought this was an overall better performance. My cons kind of stem from our attack or lack thereof. Despite Liam Millar and Marcelo Flores being two of the best players on the pitch, our chances created, I don't think, were great. I really don't. I think that not just Liam Millar and Marcelo Flores, our fullbacks, our midfield, at times, we're holding on to the ball just far too long. And by the time they'd pass it off, make a cross in or something, guys would be marked in the box or there'd be no one to find. And those are moments where it's like we're going to struggle in the World Cup if we don't sort that out. You need to know when to release that ball to give your teammate an opportunity to score and create a chance. So while chances were definitely created by the likes of Liam Millar and Marcelo Flores, there were definitely missed opportunities to create more chances for our strikers to thrive. And that's another con here. I thought our two strikers were super disconnected from the rest of the team in this performance. I said Tanny's press was really good. I really think that's about all he really did in this one. And I don't want to disparage Tanny, but I just found he didn't really find himself in great positions, and he never really got on the ball either. So not fully his fault, but he wasn't occupying good positions. He wasn't really making the best of runs. His press, like I said, was good. It was good. I'm not going to take that away. And I just really think that him and Jonathan David, they do not mesh well together, in my opinion. I think that their styles don't really exist. Tanny is a coexist, I should say. Tanny's pressing nature doesn't really fit with Jonathan David's. I want to be on the ball. I want to get space created for me. I want to create chances. I want to drop back a little bit deeper and then push into the box, whereas Tanny is press, which is why I kind of think Jonathan David pairs better with a guy like a Kyle Larin, who is a number 9 hold-up guy, poacher. He attracts the opposition and then is able to hold up the ball in really tight spots, find a man, whether it be Jonathan David, but regardless, he's creating space for Jonathan David. Whereas Tanny, he's focused on the press, and he's not really taking guys out of a game, out of a play. That's just my opinion. And then looking at Jonathan David, I do think that he just didn't get on the ball enough in crucial positions, and then when he would, I found him making the wrong choice, which is very unlike Jonathan David. Usually he's pretty sturdy and making the right decisions in that final third. I just found some of his passes just weren't finding their man, or he was marked out the game maybe because he wasn't playing with someone to kind of attract that attention, that pressure. But yeah, I do think that is something that we've been worrying about. Our striking concerns, I suppose, and then our chances created. These have been worries that we have had. So we gotta sort it out. Maybe that happens against Uzbekistan and Republic of Ireland in those June matches. Maybe it happens in the World Cup and we just have a generational lock-in. I don't know. But regardless, that's kind of how I feel about the striking dynamic at the moment. Another con, Ralph Priso going out hurt. That is a huge blow for Ralph Priso, for the Whitecaps, and for Canada. He looked good in the 25 minutes that he played, but yeah, came up with a hamstring injury, went off immediately. Not good at all. Not a good sight for a friendly, for a Canada fan, for a Whitecaps fan, for Ralph Priso, of course. I think it really, really sucks. Hot take, injury sucks. But yeah, outside of that, I thought our defense once again looked quite shaky, and no disrespect to Tunisia, but as I kind of said with Iceland, maybe if we played opposition that was a little bit higher up in the FIFA rankings, I think we might pay a little bit more on the day. We got caught out a bunch with the press. I thought our defense was up so far that anytime Tunisia tried to counter, it was like, oh my gosh, it looked like a breakaway every single time. And then there's just many mistakes from guys like Joel Waterman, Kamal Miller, and Nico Seeger making some mistakes as well that really led into Tunisia being able to have that joy going forward, but never being able to capitalize on it, thankfully. But yeah, just other things to kind of watch out for heading into this World Cup, I think. So since we're kind of on the topic of defense, let's move into our defenders and talk a little bit about our defensive performance by player. And we'll start off with Maxime Crepeau because, as I kind of alluded to, he didn't have a whole ton to do. I'm glad he got a clean sheet. It looks better for the stats, I suppose, if you're a stats person. But yeah, didn't really have a whole ton to do. Really, the only thing that he was really called upon was one of the times when Tunisia was kind of catching us on the break. And then Maxime Crepeau rushed out of his net, makes a big-time tackle to prevent the ball from going any further, kicks it out for a throw-in. But those are just the moments where it's like maybe Maxime could be our guy because he's just so quick to judge situations like that. But outside of that, he really didn't have much to do. Any shot he had to deal with was kind of tame and pretty well right at him. So yeah, we still don't know who our goalkeeper is going to be. But yeah, as you know, I am a Crepeau guy. I want Crepeau to be our number one. But if you're judging off of these two games, I don't think even the most biased Crepeau fan or the most biased Dane St. Clair fan could go, okay, it's clear. it's clear. It's got to be Dane. It's got to be Crépeau. I don't think anybody can go with that after these two games, which makes me wonder if in those June friendlies we will be doing Maxime Crépeau and Dane St. Clair in those games and see what's up. But we'll move into our defense now. We'll start off with Nico Seeger. I thought overall he was solid, but there were those shaky moments that I think really screamed, this guy should not be playing right back. We need him in the midfield. And I do understand Alistair Johnston is hurt, so we are using the resources available to us. I still think maybe we could use like a Jaquil Marshall-Rutty there or even move Richie to the right and play a left back at left back, But regardless, if this is the hill we want to die on, then okay, we're going to play Nico Seeger as a right back if Alistair Johnston is out. But there was 2 times in this game where he really got caught out. Early in the first half, ball comes over his head, and he kind of like puts his foot out to try to get it, but misjudges it completely. Tunisia gets in behind and starts a break. And then right at the end of the game too, he kind of slips, making an indecision, and then Tunisia once again catches on the counter, nearly leading to a goal. And those are the moments that in a World Cup, will you pay for that if you're playing a Bosnia? Will you pay for that if you're playing a Switzerland? Will you pay for that if you're playing a Qatar? Those are the moments where it's like, okay, like we can't be having that come the World Cup, because you can only ride your luck for so long before someone does capitalize on one of those gifts, really. But outside of that, I do think he was getting forward well. He kind of fell into the camp, though, of maybe not crossing the ball in all that much or finding a man. But when he would kind of step into the midfield, shocking, a midfielder stepping into the midfield looks better than him playing at right back. When he would step into the midfield, I thought you really saw him shine a little bit. He got on the ball a bit more, made some good runs. And yeah, I thought overall a positive performance, but with a couple shaky moments that could have proven quite disastrous. Over to the left, Richie Laryea. I thought he was probably defensively our most solid defender. But going forward, once again, I thought he really let himself down when going forward. As I kind of alluded to in the Iceland game, I thought there were some opportunities for him that he kind of missed out on. And I think that was the same with this one. He got into the box a couple of times and just wouldn't pull the trigger on making a final pass. It felt like everybody on the day, not just Richie, but everybody just felt like they need to beat their man one more time than they already did. And then eventually, you can only beat a guy so many times before he ends up winning the ball off you. And that was kind of happening here. But yeah, Richie, I thought defensively, I thought he looked pretty good. But going forward, I do think that he kind of showed maybe it should be Alphonso Davies playing at that left back spot, because I think Alphonso Davies going forward maybe pulls a trigger on some of those passes, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I do think overall solid performance from Richie. Our 2 starting center backs are Ralph Priso and Joel Waterman. I thought Ralph Priso looked good. His recovery pace, I thought, really helped him out, because there was many time where him and Joel Waterman, even in those first 25 minutes, were kind of getting caught out with. Maybe it's because they didn't know each other. They didn't know what the other one was going to do. But there was a few times where Ralph Priso was making like a last-ditch tackle, which, of course, kind of led to one of his injury. But there was a couple times where he was making these last-ditch tackles, and you're sitting there going, I wonder if maybe these guys have played together a couple more times, or maybe they're a bit more comfortable and we don't have to be seeing these last-ditch tackles. But I thought his recovery pace looked really, really good. That's going to be really exciting, I think, if he does get back to full health and maybe gets on the plane for the World Cup. But yeah, I do think overall it was a pretty decent performance from Ralph Priso for the 25 minutes that we did see. I think more importantly, though, I hope he is okay, because you don't want to see a guy getting hurt, especially in a friendly, especially a guy that is currently trying to get onto the roster for the World Cup. So hopefully he's not hurt too bad. Maybe it's just a couple week kind of thing. Hopefully no news has come out about it just yet. Jesse Marsch did say after the game it could be a few weeks. So hopefully that's all it is, just a few weeks, and he's back in training and back on the pitch and back playing, because I do think that it would be a shame to see him in his first start for Canada end up missing out on the World Cup because of it. Joel Waterman, I thought, looked, once again, decent, not phenomenal. I thought, as I said, that miscommunication or lack of communication or lack of chemistry between him and Ralph Priso was kind of shining, not in a good way, at the start. And then once Kamal came in, it took them both a while to settle in, but I think as the game went on, they looked a bit more comfortable together, but there was even still those breaks in communication at times. But regardless, I do think Joel Waterman looked pretty decent. Wasn't his best performance for Canada, wasn't his worst. I thought on the ball he looked a lot better in this game than he did against Iceland, because that is one of the things about Joel Waterman is on the ball. I do think he looks like a very comfortable center back. He's able to distribute really well, able to kind of slow down a game if you have to. And I thought against Iceland he wasn't really doing that, but then here against Tunisia I do think he was, which is good. So, yeah, I thought overall decent but shaky performance from our defense, which not ideal. But, maybe come the World Cup, we won't be super shaky looking at the back. Moving up to the midfield, we'll start with our two center midfielders here. Firstly, starting off with the best Saliba in world football, Nathan Saliba, once again proving that he is the best central midfielder in the world. I thought he looked a lot better in this game than he did against Iceland. Maybe it's because he's playing with Ismaël Koné, or maybe it was just he had a better performance, baby. Who knows? But regardless, really enjoyed this performance from Nathan Saliba. Kind of your no-nonsense performance from him. He'd win the ball back. He'd start plays. He would slow down the game if need be. Looked very, very comfortable, very confident on the ball. Had a couple of half chances here and there. But, yeah, I do think overall, very good performance from the best Saliba in world football. Him and Koné complement each other really well. I found, sat back a lot to let Koné and the wingers kind of push forward, and he would kind of push back a little bit and really help the defense out, really. And I thought it was a very mature performance from a guy that's 21, maybe 22 now. I don't know when his birthday is. But yeah, he looked very good and very excited to see what he can do for the rest of the season with Anderlecht. And then, of course, assuming he goes to the World Cup, which I would figure as long as he's healthy, he will be going to the World Cup. He's very much been integrated into this Jesse Marsch team, I think, really, really well. It took Jesse Marsch a while to fully integrate Saliba into this team, but now that he has, I think it's going to be hard to take him out of this team. I do know come the World Cup, if Eustáquio and Koné are both healthy, it will be Eustáquio and Koné, but I think that there will still be a role to play for Nathan Saliba at this World Cup, because I think he's a different profile than what we have compared to some of our other midfielders. He is kind of like Koné in a sense, but he's also like quite good defensively, but he's really good on the ball going forward, which are those Koné-isms. He's really good with distribution. And yeah, I just think he's kind of the complete package as a midfielder. And I think that if we continue to develop and continue to nurture him through Anderlecht and through Canada Soccer, I do think that we will be seeing a midfielder for years to come that is going to be very important for the men's national team. So really much looking forward to what he's going to be doing over the next 2-3 months leading up to this World Cup. His partner, someone who's going to be talked about a lot going into the World Cup and at the World Cup, and I think after the World Cup, is Ismaël Koné, because he's a star. He's just a star in waiting. I know we've probably been saying this now for about 4 years since he came up with Montreal in the 2022 season, and of course had his World Cup. He's just a star, man. Like, I don't know what else to say about him. He just looks so comfortable, so confident. I think him playing week in, week out with Sassuolo has just helped him massively, and I will always be thankful to Sassuolo, I think, now for taking a punt on him after nobody wanted to touch him with a 10-foot pole coming out of that Marseille drama. So really happy for Ismaël Koné. This has been redemption season of all redemption seasons for him, and it was on full display against Tunisia. He looked the part. He looked that mature midfielder that we needed to help lead this team in a sense, really. We're used to Stefan Eustáquio being that midfield general, if you will, but on this night, it was Ismaël Koné. He was everywhere, covered. I think every single blade of grass was well acquainted with the studs on Ismaël Koné's boots, because he was everywhere. Absolutely love this performance from him. Both on the ball, he looked exceptional. He looked so exciting. It comes so easy to him. You know what I mean? He looks just so in his element when he's on the ball and pressing that forward and probing at a defense and really weaving through guys or, laying the ball off, making the right choices. I'm really happy with how far Koné has truly come. And then off the ball too, something really underrated about Ismaël Koné. He knows where to be when he's off the ball. And I know that might sound like a rhetorical statement, like, yeah, of course he's a soccer player. He knows where to be when he's off the ball. But you just watch some players and it's like off the ball, they just don't fully know where they should be. Should they kind of move into the ball? Should they cover a man? Should they go zonal? Ismaël Koné he always seemed to know where to be off the ball, really helping dictate the rest of the flow around him as well. And he's just such an exciting player. He is going to blow up this summer. The rumor is Juventus. If I'm Juventus, I'm trying to get that transfer done before this World Cup, because after this World Cup, I think that price is going up, because Ismaël Koné, he is that guy. Speaking of that guy, our two wingers I thought looked very good. Let's start off with Marcelo Flores. And yeah, first start for Canada, impressed. He looked very bright with his cameo against Iceland. But of course, you go, okay, it was maybe 20 minutes. We'll see what he can do off the full 90. We saw what this boy can do well, he didn't play the full 90, but he played from the start. And we saw what he can do. He looked good. He very comfortable with the ball at his feet, which we knew. But yeah, it was so hard to dispossess him on the night too. And he was just, once again, he never stopped, which is what I really liked. And what Jesse Marsch likes about his wingers, it seems like, is guys that will track back. Marcelo Flores was tracking back. He was pushing up, tracking back. And yeah, just on the ball, so hard to dispossess. My only gripe about his performance was we're going to go back to maybe he held on to the ball a little bit too long at times. There's a few times where he'd get into the box and then it would be like, oh, do I shoot? Do I cut in? Do I lay it off? Do I hold on to it? And he is young, so I do expect that to kind of wash out of his system. This was also his first game as a starter with the national team, so you kind of going, okay, maybe he's not fully comfortable with the guys around him. So I don't look into it too much, because I think there's a lot of factors at play for that. But regardless, anytime he was on the ball, you really felt like something could happen. He looked so good. He really did. And if it wasn't for his winger counterpart, I would probably be saying Marcelo Flores man of the match. But we will get into him, because this is the guy that I want to talk about. Liam Millar, baby. Liam Millar. We don't call this the home of the Liam Millar Hive for nothing, because my goodness, this was his best performance for the Canadian men's national team. I thought he looked exceptional. The only thing about his performance, kind of like Marcelo Flores, there was times where I think his final ball, or lack thereof, might have let him down. But he also did whip in a good few crosses in this game that I think really should have been capitalized on. One in the first, one in the second, where he whipped in just two beautiful crosses and nobody got on the end of them. But yeah, Liam Millar, man, creating chances, looked just so good on the ball, occupying great space too. He always, watching in person, was always occupying just so much open space, and I really wish that we found him more often, because he was just, there was acres of space for him to run into, and not every time were we finding him. But when we did find him, man, electric. He's just such a fun player to watch, I think. And he's another one where he doesn't just attack, he pushes back, tracks back, and none more so than, the play, if you watch the game, the play of the game, where we get caught out, huge counter happens for Tunisia. You see Liam Millar sprinting back, and then, of course, Tunisia crosses the ball in, and you've seen this goal 1,000 times, two guys in alone. Goalkeeper has to commit to one, and the guy lays it off to the other guy, and it's an easy tap. And not when Liam Millar's around, apparently. No easy tap-ins here. Liam Millar makes a huge sliding tackle to deflect the ball out. Huge moment. Stadium came unglued for it. And yeah, he was the official man of the match, and he's most definitely the Maple Footy man of the match. He was so good. His best performance for the Red of Canada, even though we were wearing black. But regardless, such a good performance, man. So happy. I think the midfield as a whole looked really good. All four of them, Marcelo Flores, Nathan Saliba, Ismaël Koné, Liam Millar, were some of our brightest shining stars on the night. And yeah, Liam Millar 100% is the Maple Footy man of the match. Moving into our strike partnership, I don't have a whole ton to say that I haven't already said in the con, so this one might be a little bit quick. But yeah, I think it comes down to I don't think these two complement each other well. I just don't. As I said, I don't think their styles really mesh well together. Tanny's a presser. David is he's honestly like a 9-10, you know? He likes to drop back and occupy those 10 kind of positions and then also be that number 9 goal scorer. And Tanny, he's a presser, you know? And that's kind of where I stand with the two of them on this night. I thought Tanny looked good in the press, but outside of that, I don't think he offered a whole ton else. And Jonathan David, it just wasn't his night. He wasn't terrible by any means, but I don't really think he did a whole ton on this day. And of course, with Jonathan David, not to say these games don't matter because they do, but with Jonathan David, you know, as long as he's healthy, he's starting. He just is for Canada. He's one of our, if not our best player. So he's starting. For a guy like Tanny, I think he's going to leave this pitch going. Not that I think his World Cup spot's in jeopardy. He will be going to the World Cup so long as he's healthy. But he might be thinking, okay, maybe I'm not the starting guy. Now, who the starting guy is, take it back to the goalkeepers. We don't know. I don't know who's going to be partnering Jonathan David on that opening day. If it was up to me, I would probably go with Kyle Larin. And I do know that a lot of people aren't Kyle Larin guys anymore. But for me, as I said, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. I just think him and David complement each other really, really well. And I think that's what it really comes down to at this moment for me is who's going to complement and get the best out of Jonathan David. And I think it would be a Kyle Larin because I haven't seen David partner with someone that gets the best of him like Kyle Larin does. Moving into our substitutes in the 58th minute. Jebo, the man, Daniel Jebison came in. I thought he looked bright. I do think he looked bright. I thought he, kind of like Kyle Larin on the weekend against Iceland, I thought he made some good runs, occupied some good spaces, but was never really found all that much. The few times where he did get on the ball in the box, I think he fell victim to the being indecisive in the box, which from your striker, you need them to be decisive. You just do. They're a striker. You need them to know what they're going to do. And once again, it might come down to he's young. He hasn't played a whole ton with this team, so maybe that plays a factor in it. But yeah, I thought overall this was a positive performance from Daniel Jebison. I do wonder if he's going to be on the plane for the World Cup, just because those striker positions are there's a lot of strikers that we have at our disposal. I do think that he has a good shot at being at the World Cup. He's had a solid season with Preston. He's looked good in these 2 matches with Canada in this window. So I do think there's definitely a high chance that he's there. But yeah, I thought that this was a positive performance from Jebo. If he could have been a little bit more decisive, I think that would have been ideal. And then, of course, Jonathan Osorio came on the 58th minute for Nathan Saliba, and he is someone that I've been concerned will not be going to the World Cup is Jonathan Osorio, just because with the midfield depth kind of stacking up, also getting up there in age. But I think these 2 friendlies have shown us we need Jonathan Osorio in around this team. One, he's a proven leader, captain of TFC. He's one of the vets of this squad. He's now over 90 caps, which is amazing. I just want him to get to 100, man. I want him to get to 100 so bad. But yeah, and he came on and helped dictate the flow of this game as well. Came on for Nathan Saliba and fit in like a glove. He was looking real good on the ball, making some good defensive plays, getting up there in attack as well. Complimented Ismaël Koné really well as well. So yeah, really happy with the Jonathan Osorio 2 performances that we saw against Iceland and here against Tunisia. I hope that he has done enough to get that call for the World Cup. And he started the season well with TFC, so fingers crossed. And I just realized I did not talk about Kamal Miller, who was a sub in the 26th minute. Kamal Miller, I thought looked shaky to start, but as the game grew, I thought he grew into it. I do think that this system does not suit Kamal Miller. This high press, quick system, it just does not suit him, and that kills me as a huge Kamal Millar fan because that's my center back. That is my number 4. I absolutely love Kamal to bits. You know this if you've watched pretty much any time I've ever talked about Kamal Millar. I absolutely love him to bits. But yeah, I think that we have seen now in the last couple of games that this system just does not suit him. That's not me saying don't bring him to the World Cup. I still would, but I'm a Kamal Millar fan. But I do know a lot of people would not, and I think that opinion might be valid. But for me, I just like him, but that I'm biased, so I'm not, that's why I'm not the coach of the Canadian men's national team. But yeah, I do think that as the game grew in, I thought he grew into it. And once Derek Cornelius came on, I thought they both looked more comfortable together. Cornelius looked good when he came in, and Kamal Millar, I thought, with Derek Cornelius, looked more comfortable and more confident. And he did make some good stops as well. He even got forward a few times too. Kamal Millar, the attacker. But yeah, I thought that this was a better game for him than it was against Iceland. In the 76th minute, we made a quadruple. Yeah, quadruple is 4, right? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Ali Ahmed came on for Marcelo Flores. Just another one of our exciting players, man. He's just so much fun to watch. I love Ali Ahmed, man. That Norwich move has done him wonders. Not to say the Whitecaps, he wasn't looking good, but my goodness, this Norwich move has done him absolute wonders. Looked really good, picked up the ball in some really good spaces, really. And yeah, I don't have a whole ton else to say. He was only on for about 15 minutes, but yeah, bright cameo. Jaquil Marshall-Rutty, once again, just super happy that he's finally gotten in to the men's national team officially, and has been officially capped because, of course, Camp Poutine doesn't count. But yeah, I thought he looked really bright, actually, like in this 15-minute cameo. I thought he really got in there defensively, got stuck in. But what I also really liked was he was really forward. Like, he really pushed forward, but never to a point where it's like, this guy's out of position. He was really pushing forward, playing like a winger at times, and then would get back every single time. So, yeah, really, really happy with Jaquil Marshall-Rutty. Junior Hoylett also came in. Could this have been his swan song with Canada? I do not know. I'm not fully sure he's going to the World Cup with the amount of wingers that we have at the moment. Another guy that's getting up there in age. But regardless, I'll never be upset about seeing Junior Hoylett. He's just another one of those players. He's a lot of fun to watch. Of course, he is getting up there in age, but enjoy it while we got him, I think, it is what I'll say about Junior Hoylett, because we don't have another player like him. And yeah, I absolutely love Junior Hoylett. In the 76th as well, our final change was Jason Russell-Rowe. Another one, didn't have a whole ton to do, didn't have a whole ton of time to get into the game. But regardless, I do think he looked decent when he came in. Didn't have a whole ton to do, so I don't have a whole ton to say about it. Really happy that he did get in. I'm a fan of Russell-Rowe. I'm interested if maybe he does go to the World Cup. Who knows? But I wouldn't complain if he did. I'm a big Russell-Rowe fan. I think that he's got boatloads of potential, and I think the more that he plays with this men's national team, I think the better we're just going to see of him. And then, of course, if he keeps playing with Toulouse over in Ligue 1, I do think that we will just start to see his star and stock rise. Like, I think that there's a proper player there. But this does bring to an end this episode of Maple Footy. And the next time we will be talking about the Canadian men's national team will be in that June window right before the World Cup. So really going to be looking forward to that. We got Uzbekistan and the Republic of Ireland. Uzbekistan in Edmonton, Republic of Ireland in Montreal. That is our send-off World Cup game. Then, of course, we have the World Cup where we have Bosnia confirmed, Qatar confirmed, Switzerland confirmed. I think it's going to be a real fun summer. I'm really looking forward to this. Going to be, of course, doing breakdowns for it all when it does happen in just over 2 months. I do hope that I've done enough to make you want to stick around for that. And I think it's going to be just boatloads of fun. So, yeah, get your red, get your white, get your black out and wear those jerseys, pull up a scarf, pull up a flag, do whatever. And yeah, let's just have fun with this World Cup, man. I think it's going to be a whole ton of fun. Outside of that, if you still have not listened to my Matthew Shinetti interview, what are you doing? Listen to that. Go listen to it. Don't wait here. Go listen to it. But on Friday, we will be dropping another interview with a Forge youngster, KJ Tavernier. Really looking forward to you seeing that one. He's one of the most exciting young players in the CPL. He's got a little bit of experience behind him already, despite being a younger guy. So really looking forward to you listening to that. I thought it was a really good interview, really good talk with him. So yeah, definitely will want to check that one out on Friday, April the 3rd, and you won't want to miss it. And until then, listen to the Matthew Shinnetti one. Listen to my other interviews too, if you want. And yeah, thank you so much for listening if you have listened this far. And of course, until next time, cheers, everyone.
And that was your Maple Footy podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Check my socials for any and all future updates. Remember to support Canadian football, be kind, and until next time, live, laugh, little.